Every single member of this institution, Democratic and Republican, should join us in condemning the president's racist tweets.
I was just going to give the General Speaker of the House if she would like to rephrase that comment.
I have cleared my remarks with the parliamentarian before I read them.
Can I ask the words be taken down? I make a point of order. The gentlewoman's words are unparliamentary and ready to be taken down.
That was Congressman Doug Collins calling out House Speaker Nancy Pelosi in an explosive showdown this last Tuesday. The Speaker, in a speech on the House floor, labeled as racist the president's tweet telling the progressive Democratic Congresswomen known as the Squad to, quote, go back and fix the crime-infested places from which they came. The Speaker's move declared a violation of the Chamber's rules of decorum. I'm back with Congressman Doug Collins, ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee, gearing up to question Bob Mueller on Wednesday. And, Congressman, explain what just went down there. There is a certain decorum that is required on the House floor.
There certainly is, and as the leader of the House, the Speaker is the one in charge actually of our rules. And for someone who very much values the debate and the decorum of the institution, we can have vehement debates. We can disagree violently even in our language, but there are certain things that we cannot say. And drawing on the personalities of the president and using that, it just shows how, frankly, degraded the Democratic Party has. The Speaker ought to be embarrassed right now. She should not look back on this as a victory. It was a moment of frankly, that brought dishonor to the House, because the body never voted to say that she didn't break the rules. In fact, she was told she broke the rules. But what she forced her party to do was take away her punishment. So she basically says, yep, I broke the rules, but I'll use my folks to say that I don't have to be punished for that, which meant that the words would be stricken, that she couldn't speak anymore on the floor. This shows you how dysfunctional this Democratic majority has been. They have done nothing except just run roughshod over the institutional processes in the House.
So let's take a look at what they have done. I mean, here we are in July, 7 months into their leadership of the House of Representatives. Give us your priorities. What are the priorities of this Congress, and what has gotten done so far?
Well, my wife is getting ready for her last year of teaching, and if she was grading this, she'd give it an F, because they have done absolutely nothing at this point. They've done nothing on immigration. They've done nothing on the economic conditions except try to roll back the gains that we made many times through our tax cuts, through our deregulation plan. What I'm seeing is simply they're playing to a base. We're seeing bills come to the floor that have inherent flaws in them that make them unworkable, even if they were signed into law. They're rushing stuff to the floor to feed a press release frenzy that their base wants to see. And really, at the end of the day, they're not getting anything done. And a classic example of this is immigration. They're ready to yell. Earlier this year, they said there was no crisis on the border. Now they say there's a crisis on the border, but yet almost 100 of them just a couple of weeks ago refused to send money to actually help on the border. That's hypocrisy in its highest, and that's what we've seen in the first 7.5 months. All they want to do is bash the president. All they want to do is talk about how bad he is and what the economy, but they don't want to focus on the fact that there's a great economy, businesses are starting, people are moving forward, and our standing in the world has improved. They have simply failed when it comes to governing in the House of Representatives.
And in fact, you've got two major priorities, and the clock is ticking on USMCA, and the clock is ticking on the debt ceiling. What are you going to do? Are you going to raise the debt ceiling?
Good question that Madam Speaker needs to answer, because she runs the majority in the House, and the USMCA needs to pass now. This is something that the president has worked on, that both sides have. There's issues just in any major trade deal. There was stuff that I would like to see maybe done a little bit better. There's stuff that I'm sure that the Speaker would like to see done better. But Mexico and Canada have went out and been a part of this. The president has been a part of this. They could put it on the floor today and it would pass. The problem is they're playing politics because they simply don't like to give this president what they would perceive as a win. And the debt ceiling is something she's going to have to deal with on her progressive caucus and others, and also the budget caps deal. The question is, do they want to destroy our military as they had done previously, or do they want to actually build it up? We've got money in there, but they've got to find a budget caps deal so we don't shut down the government come September.
Exactly. So is that going to happen? I mean, so far the markets really haven't reacted, but as we see interest rates coming down in the next 2 weeks by the Federal Reserve, as we see this deadline getting closer, I suspect people and markets will react. I spoke with Senator Mitch McConnell this past week, actually, on USMCA. There are some people who do not think Nancy Pelosi is going to bring this to the floor at all. I asked Mitch McConnell about that. Listen to this.
I can't bring it up first in the Senate. If I could, under the procedure, I would, and it would be ratified here in the Senate. It has to start in the House. I don't think we ought to walk away from NAFTA if we can't get this done, but we ought to get this done.
That was a break from the president, Congressman, because when I interviewed the president a couple of weeks ago, he said, look, if she doesn't bring it to the floor and we don't get USMCA passed, we're going to go pre-NAFTA. We're going to get rid of NAFTA, and it will be pre-NAFTA. You just heard Mitch McConnell break with the president on that point and say, we can't do away with NAFTA right now. That'll hit the economy.
Well, I think what the majority leader is talking about, and I think what we all are, is it's time for Congress to do its job. It's time for the House of Representatives and the Senate to do its job. I've been part of big bills in the past few Congresses that were both bipartisan and actually got signed under President Obama and President Trump. What he's saying is, he said, let's do our job. Let's do this the way it's supposed to be done. And he's really telling the Speaker of the House, instead of worrying about all of the things that you think are grand and press releases to feed a progressive base that is pushing socialist policies all across the agenda, let's work on things that actually make the real difference in Americans' lives. And if you do that, that is why I say that they have failed in their mission, because we're not seeing the things that actually would help people. Mitch McConnell said, we'll pass it. Madam Speaker, where are you? Why have we not put this on the floor?
All right, we will be watching these important developments. Thanks very much, Congressman. Great to see you this morning. Thank you, sir.